Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Carl Watson here with me today. How you doing, Carl?
I'm doing good, Cedric. How are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well, quite well. Where are you living these days?
Well, I'm living right now in the small town of Newtonville, located here in South Jersey, with my mother, my father, and my 7-year-old son.
Wow, wow. I understand that there's some pretty good living to be had out there in different parts of Jersey. Is that right?
Oh, yes. Very, very big atmosphere, family oriented. I mean, we have the beaches that are 20 minutes from here, so that's a pleasure in itself right there.
Right, right. Did you grow up there?
Yes, been living here for now 26 years. So,
Wow.
yes,
Okay, and if I can ask respectfully, how old are you?
26, sir.
26. Tell me, what was it like growing up in South Jersey?
So growing up here in South Jersey, I was surrounded by predominantly my entire family, both my mother and my father's side. So I got to see all my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, uh, them taking us to parks, teaching us to be more outgoing with individuals that we come in contact with. So as a young adult, a child growing up here in New Jersey, it was really an experience, I would like to say. It's really kind of hard for me sometimes to even leave Jersey because my family's still here. We're so closely knitted. They support me with anything and everything I do. And it really is kind of hard to pull away from them, but I know sometimes a bird has to leave its nest in order to fly. So definitely still working on that. But and for the most part, being here is it's definitely words cannot really explain.
Excellent, excellent. And birds do need to leave the nest, but they need to leave the nest safely, and they need to leave the nest in a complete transition to stability. In other words, when I look at other people transition from the home that they might have grew up in or in association with their family, it looks good and it feels good when they're moving into their own home,
Yeah.
and they have a vehicle, and they have all of their finances on track for even greater success, and they have savings established, maybe an investment or two. Would you agree with that?
I agree 100% with that.
Sure. And so, I mean, you're already setting a positive example for our viewership today, as well as your son and people who might look up to you when it comes to leaving the house responsibly. I think that that's a really big thing. And before we get into more of your childhood, I want to know how did it enrich your perspective to grow up with not just your mother's side of the family, but your father's side of the family, and have access to so many relatives?
That came. So the thing with that, I know sometimes people say that family members can't get along. We do have some people in our family that will say one's doing better than the other, but actually being with both sides. My mother's side was more of strictness. They come straight from North Carolina. Everybody was born there, and then they migrated up north. My father's side of the family, however, migrated from Georgia, Atlanta to be more specific.
Okay.
So when I got, I want to say to the point of 7 years old, where my son is now, being more joyous and running around, I noticed that my parents, they never had it like you're going to be with your cousins on your mom's, or no, you're just going to be over here with your cousins on your dad's. They made sure to entangle both sides to the point I actually thought my cousins that were on my mom's side and the cousins on my dad's side, I was getting them split messed up. That's how great the bond was with all of us. So just that by itself, that again, great support system. You know, it helped me to learn how to be understanding of people's different intentions, different thought process, different emotions. But in the meantime of that, at the end of the day, when we pull back the onion and the layer, family. And right there, family is in my opinion, family is the greatest and most precious currency that we can have.
Outstanding. Now, what I want you to do with that comment, if you can, is I want you to dissect that a little bit. When you say family is the most precious currency that one can have, I want you to talk about what do you mean by that?
Okay. So what I mean by that with currency, people think of money. They use money for what? You can buy materialistic items with money, right?
Mhm.
However, with family, there's times where you can be around a family member and give them $1, $10, $200. You know, the amount varies, but the main thing is you want to make sure that they're happy. You know, so when I say like my family's my biggest currency, whenever my family's down, even if I'm doing fine today, like I just made a sell or I just got to come on a show today, but if I hear that one of my family members is having a bad day, it automatically puts me down because we're a team. That's why it's a family. We're a team. We're a network. If one's down, we're all down. It's meant for us to instill strength within us so that way we can go ahead and do the ultimate goal, which is generational wealth. So
Mhm.
I think that teaching one another, we learn from each other. One person fails, the next four won't fail because that one showed us you don't do that. So we actually instill that, and we read together, family that reads together, we pray together, and we're just always close knit. So that to me, that's the biggest currency that's here. It's more powerful than gold, silver, lead, more powerful than anything. Family.
Awesome. 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 I agree with you 100%. I believe that no matter how much money you have in your pocket, your uncle can give you a phone call and tell you something that can be so valuable that you can you could turn the rest of your life into you could write your own check.
Yes.
You know, I believe that your grandmother can pull you to the side and say something to you that can turn you from a thousandaire to $1 million man. I
Yeah.
believe that your mother, shout out to all the mothers out there, shout out to my mother in the building right now, can say something to you that can broaden your horizon from a small target to the world being your playground. And so when you say that family is the most precious currency, I think that that is the thesis of our entire conversation today. Because I think that we need to reevaluate what our people, the people around us, is truly worth. I think that our value is absolutely huge, and we need to begin to understand that. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yes. So what actually you saying that with knowing worth? Can I talk on that?
For sure.
With knowing worth, in the family standpoint, we all know the ones that are the naysayers, the ones that don't clap when you win, that actually clap when something goes wrong in your life. We have those. We have them in friends. We have those in family. We have those in our actual circle. But with my actual family, even if they don't agree with something that I do, it's still I'm doing something. As a black male here in America in 2020, I have no prior run-ins with the police. I have never been to jail. I have never even had handcuffs put on me, so I don't know how that feels. Which, when I say that to people, that by itself is an honor. Thanks to God, and and it's just I'm sorry, it's just really a blessing now that I'm sitting here and actually talking to you about it, Cedric, that I never really thought about how my family really has molded me into being a great man and a great father. So being here and on your show, it's a huge honor. I just wanted to say that. I know that wasn't really on topic, but it's just
I don't
really
know.
an honor.
Everything that has cultivated you, has prepared you for this moment. And so everything that you think of is going to be on topic. And I just want to say that you are a great example of what happens when a family is cohesive and when a family is tight knit. Um, when you were talking about how you thought that your cousins on your mother's side were from your father's side, and the cousins from your father's side was on your mother's side, that right there speaks toward the level of togetherness that you have had, the reality of. And I believe that where we need to go as a society is that should be normal. That should not be an exception. No, Carl Watson is not an exception. Carl Watson is an example of what we should all be producing as a family. And so when you say that you've had no prior run-ins with the police, what I hear is that your family's been checking for you morning, afternoon, and night. And so I think that is a very positive thing, and that's a positive example. That being said, I want to know, what were some of your family traditions growing up?
So my favorite one that we actually had growing up was movie nights. Every Thursday night is a movie night with the family. And as we got older, we could still continue that tradition to the point I am not allowed to bring my phone in the living room. If I have my phone even in my pocket, my mom is like, put it in the room. So that's the one tradition that we have. Next that we have is we always take family trips to, again, where my mom is from. She's from North Carolina. So we will actually take family trips and go see her brothers and sisters. And when I was younger, rest their souls, I actually got to see my grandparents. And their love for their grandchildren, that is when I got to see how this tradition in my family, it actually started, because it started with them. My mom even goes ahead and takes us. She makes sure if she needed to go to the store, she took us to the store. If she needed to go to the bank, she took us to the bank. So as we started getting older, I'm now tradition without her realizing it. Every time my mom's like, I'm going to the store. All right, so do I gotta get dressed? And
Right.
she laughs at me. It's like, if you want to come, you can come. Um, so the movie nights, always together, family trips. Then the next thing that we always have to do on Tuesdays, we like tacos.
Okay. Okay.
So Tuesday nights is taco nights. So me and mom will be in the kitchen and we try different recipes. We tried one night fish tacos, then another week we tried chicken, then another time we tried beef tacos. We just tried everything. And sometimes I might not want to actually indulge in some of the foods, but the main thing that makes me love going into the kitchen is the fact that my mom is always there and she's incorporating for me to try something new, or she's always like, what do you think of this? And even with my son, he's now trying to think he's a world-class chef. And I have to let him know, please step back from the stove.
Right. 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 Right.
So, like traditions wise and just our family
Right.
being
And
together.
so, yeah, yeah. And so it seems like, your family is a caravan. And God has told us, the universe has shown us that um that the family should be a caravan. The family should move together. The family should communicate together. The family should do things together. And so your family is a great example, and you're a case study, if you will, today, of what it is that we should be doing. I also want to add that your son, who believes he can be a chef, um, he's on a great path, and let's make sure that we support him in that, because the same way that we've been supported growing up, as your son wants to be a chef. I don't know if you've heard, there's a Junior Chef Academy. It airs on TV. It's an international thing. And I talked to a young man not too long ago. His name was Top Chef Carson. He's no older than 16 years old, and he's an international chef. He's been doing it since he was a little kid. So your son, who might want to be a chef, yeah, let him hang out in that kitchen with you.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
One thing there's a quote that my son and me, we live by. And the quote that I always tell him, and no matter what goes on, if it's hard out there, I always look at him and say, just remember, Dreams are just portals to different realities. Pick one.
Mm.
I tell them that all the time.
For sure. What value do you place on dreams?
The value that I place on dreams is dealing. So again, I don't know if I reiterated. I did have my bachelor's in psychology and actually working on going back to school to retain my master's in it. But when I actually think about dealing with like dreams, I think of it as the subconscious mind, which is 99% us. So when we dream, everyone dreams. You dream when you sleep, you dream when you wake up. Hence why it's called daydreaming. So when I instill in that, your subconscious is always constantly taking in information, whether you think it or not. It's always taking in information, and that information that you're taking in, it's what resembles the dreams that you have. Some people have a problem with that. I can't interpret that dream, and then as time goes on, they can interpret that dream. So to me, dreams is just the gateway to success if you can know how to understand and read exactly
Mm.
what it is that your dreams, your subconscious self is trying to tell you. The moment that you become aware of that, dreams become reality.
You said the moment you come out of that, what?
No, the moment that you become aware of that, your
Mhm.
dreams will then become reality.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge because they say if you can dream it, you can achieve it.
Yes.
And so part of that is you want to solve a problem. You want to see yourself somewhere in the future. You want to be that, right? This is where developing a vision comes to play in life. And this is the role that vision plays in successful adulthood is that when you want to be something, you have to begin to see it. It's pure imagination in the beginning. And you begin to see it, and then once you can see it clearly, that might take years for you to be able to see it clearly. So you got to stay focused. But once you can see it clearly, you hold that vision, no matter what distractions happen in your life. Would you agree with that?
I do agree with that. Staying focused is the key.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. It is hard because it is easy to get off track. But staying focused is definitely that's the key. If you
Yeah.
can stay focused and consistent and not give up. I know a lot of people will be like, I tried this 30 times. It ain't work. Well, try another 30. You might get
Wow.
it. You know, don't quit because it's hard. Keep working so it'll be simple. It's like working out. I ran track here in New Jersey. I'm actually non-public B state champion at St. Joseph in Hamilton, New Jersey. And training, I when I found out the 400 meters, exactly how big that was. But when training for it, I remember my coach was like, "You're gonna one day run a 50 flat, a 50 flat," and I'm like, "How can I do that?"
You said
And
50 seconds.
50 seconds flat. You're gonna
So
run.
for our viewership out there, you're saying that your coach was telling you that one day you're going to be able to run 400 meters, which is one time around the track in 50 seconds.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
at that time, I honestly I didn't believe that because when I'm out there mentally, my lungs start to give in, or oh my god, it's too much of a run. But he told me the main thing. He says you're going to do it if you believe it in practice. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he says, if you can train hard in practice, stay focused, stay consistent with these drills, by the time we go to sectionals, you will be running a 50 flat, if not faster. At that time before, I was running 55. And if
Okay.
you're on a track, that 5 second gap is a huge gap.
Right. Yep.
At the end of the season, when we finally won states, and then they announced that my PR was a 50.3,
Mm.
I looked at my coach, and then the tears, not of excitement, built up. And it was at that moment that I knew it was like, if you put your mind to it, you stay focused and you stay consistent and working at it, don't worry about today. Focus on tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
And that really instilled in me that I can do anything if I just keep these measures and principles in line. And
Right.
that's how I continue to go forward in my life today.
Right. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
No, actually, I am a single child. I did have a sister, but she passed away back in 2007 on her break from college. Returning home, she got into a car accident and we lost her.
Sorry to hear that, my brother.
Perfectly fine. Thank you.
For sure. What did you? I want to know what role did your father play in leading you to become the man that you are today?
So, with that, my father taught me many, many things, but just I know we don't have that much time, so I'll keep it brief. The main thing that my father taught me really was when I was younger, being athletic, you have fans. Every athlete has a fan club. And the one thing that my father told me was that, again, I reiterated, he said, pay attention to the people who clap. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said exactly what I said. Pay attention to people that clap when you win. A small win is still a win, is it not? And I said, yeah. He taught me that, and my circle of people, it has gotten smaller, but it's quantity. I mean quantity over quality. And the people that I have now not only clap when I win, but we clap when we all win.
Right.
Next thing that my father taught me was, even if it's hard, it's okay to take a breath, and even if you have to cry, it's okay. He said, but what is not okay is not trying again. And that instilled in me too, because there has been some days that it's been hard. College, it was honestly, people say college was the best time in their lives. College was actually like my worst time in my life.
And why
Gave
is
me a
that?
lot of time. College was actually the worst time for me, because I was actually there was a lot of problems in my family. We had a lot of deaths. We had family members who actually got ill. And being in school and knowing that I had to stay focused with my studies, there was times where my family was actually struggling a little bit financially, and that would kind of mentally mess with me, because then that's when you get that I should just leave school and go home and work. But my mother and father instilled with me that we got this. It was like, we had you, and we, like, before we had you, we were fine. We have you, we're still fine.
That's right.
And they're the ones that's not force me, because my family, my parents, they never forced me to do it. But anything, they just talk to me and give me my options, and after that, it's a choice. But my mother and father told me, it was like, stay in school. It's hard now. And there's sometimes I was crying because the teacher told me this paper ain't good enough. Do it again. And sometimes that really got to me, and I would sit there and be like, Mom, what's the point? She sat there and said, the point is, it's your dream. She said, you have a son who sees you as hope for anything he can want to do. Sports, school, anything. She said, when you sit there and you continue to try, he's going to see you want to continue to try. And when I thought of that and actually looked at my son, who at the time he was 2, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep going. And I finished my degree at Rowan University. I was supposed to graduate in 2017, but since they don't have fall graduations, they only have spring, I actually walked the spring of 2018. And when I did, my entire family was there. And seeing them while on stage and I was getting my diploma, my mom was right. It hurt at the beginning, and I didn't think it was going to be worth it. But at the very end of that tunnel, it was worth it. And I'm thankful for the support system that they actually gave me to continue to get my degree in education of psychology.
Mm-hmm. At some point, you had to realize the value of being supported, and at some point, I'd like to believe you said, "Let me not take this support for granted." Is that a fact?
Yes, because oh, I'm sorry. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, taking the support. Don't take support for granted.
Don't
You
take it
know,
for granted, right?
I never bite the hand that feeds me, but I always watch the hand that's cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, my family, my mother and my father, to be more specific, they always, and they always make sure to instill in me the right paths, the foundation. That's really the key, is having a great foundation. So even if you do slip and you fall, go right back down to the base. And from the base, you will never crash and go any lower from that. And my family is the prime examples for making sure to keep my foundation intact.
There are youth in foster care. I have a background in foster care. There are some youth in foster care who they could be adopted, but they don't want to be adopted. What would you say to a young person who could possibly have a family, but they don't want that family because they don't understand the true gift that it is to have a family because of what they've been through? Can you provide any encouragement? Can you provide any comment that would allow a teenager or a young person to realize the true value that is having a family?
Yeah. So I understand that too, because even though I have not been in foster care, but I do have friends that actually have been, and they can even tell me that our friending group is their family.
Mm.
They tell us that if it wasn't for us, they don't know where they would have been.
Mm.
They even instill in us that when they were actually in their troubling times and they didn't have a family, actually saw people honestly as trying to get over on them. So it was kind of hard for them to open up to that. But the thing I can tell people is they say you can't pick and choose your family. I disagree.
Mm.
I disagree with that, actually, because I actually have some friends that I consider my brothers and my sisters, and that is my family. And so the thing I can tell people and encourage them is really watch the people who are there for you, because the ones that are there for you and they love you, they want to make sure that you're good. They want to make sure that you're not just doing better than them, but you're doing better than your yesterday self. Those are the people that you know are your family. So any child that's going through, I don't think this person loves me, I don't think this person cares for me, you know, yes, it's going to take you to understand and see those people. But I can tell you that there is at least one person that you have come in contact with, that person will make sure, even if they have to stay up all night with you to get something done, they will make sure to do that, because that is the end goal. Family is the biggest currency.
Right, right. And so we want to send a message out there today for any young person who might be struggling with the concept of family. Don't lose hope on family. And it might not be your blood relatives in all cases. It might not even be the current situation that you're living in today. But some of the value that I'm getting out of this conversation with Carl Watson is that we should never lose hope on family, because and believe me, family is not always, the people who are right there with you. We are all relatives, and yet we are family by circumstance. Don't lose hope on the idea that your environment can change, your friends can change, the people who are there who care about you can change. When you get a scenario of family, hearken to it, hold on to it, use it, be used by it, give back to it, and realize that that's going to be one of your keys to success.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Carl Watson today. Carl Watson has had a very robust life experience, and he's providing that experience with us today for us to unpack, dissect, understand, and respect. I'm looking forward to the second half of this conversation, and I encourage you all to share this stream. Take a moment to find America's Next Motivator TV show page, like it, subscribe to it, because this is going to continue to be something here for you. We'll be right back after a brief message. America's Next Motivator. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by me, Cedric Riley, sponsored by our good friends at the Pride Empowerment Network. And we're back. Hey, Carl, I would like to know, did you read books growing up?
Yes, I actually have.
Okay. What were some of the books that you read growing up?
So when you say growing up, what age group?
Let's say high school.
High school. So in high school, the book that I was actually introduced to, I want to say my sophomore year, was Richest Man in Babylon.
Okay.
And then following, I'm sorry.
Did you like that book?
Actually, I love that book.
Did you get, yeah. So the books that I want to talk about are the books that had a great impact on your idea of manhood, a great impact on your idea of adulthood, leadership, and motivation. So, yeah, can you talk about, did you get value out of that book, The Richest Man in Babylon?
Yes, actually, I got a lot of value out of that book.
Okay.
The main thing just from that, there's a lot of lessons in that, but the main thing from that was like 5 lessons in gold. And that right there taught me more of a financial, I want to say it will help to get to my goal of out of a financial crisis when I was in high school. I'll go with that.
Okay.
And as I started reading the book was explaining more of how to save money, but not just to save money, but to put money into places that the money will come back in full. Because that book actually spoke to me as people look at people that have money as, oh, this person is evil. You know, there is some family friends that we had conversations that were like, money isn't everything. And I'll say, that's true, but you do need it to buy the things you need.
Okay.
And so when The Richest Man in Babylon, when I actually opened that book and it taught me the lessons with financial goal, and even knowing that the things that you think that you want is not important to the things that you actually need. So that book instilled in me with lessons for that. Then my other book that I actually read going back, it's actually my childhood favorite book. My mom used to read it to me every night. It's a German folk tale, but it's called Rumpelstiltskin.
Okay.
And I actually read that book to my son on given days whenever he's actually here with me and not with his mother. But that book has also taught me a lot of lessons.
Like what?
The first thing it's actually taught me was, well, are you familiar with the book?
Roughly. I haven't read that book in a long time.
Well, roughly, what the main lesson that I learned from that book, just I can't remember her name, but the female that later had the child, when she was asking Rumpelstiltskin, can he do taking straw and making it into gold, and he was doing that for her. The thing that I was learning was you can still ask people to assist you. You can even pay people to do a job for you. However, people have their own secret intents, which at the very end of the day, we found out his intent was he just always wanted the firstborn child because he knew throughout the whole story, if he does these tasks for him, at the end of the day, she will be married to the king because the king is going to be like, I want a woman who can make gold. And he knew that. So when I read the story, it wasn't until growing up, I was like, wow, I really love this story because of that, because there's a lesson in that. There's people who have hidden agendas, hidden purposes that we can't see. But as long as that we keep our foundation, we keep our principles, and we keep our boundaries, we shall be fine. And that book really instilled with me, if you don't like a deal, don't take it. And that book is really what taught me that. I might have analyzed it a little bit too much, but that's how I looked at it.
Sure. So you seem like you're into finances a little bit. Can you tell us any ways that you've discovered to make your money work for you? Because what you were talking about just a minute ago was the idea that saving money is one thing, but putting money in a scenario that can make it work for you is a different and sometimes separate thing.
Yes.
Have you discovered any ways that we can make our money work for us?
Yes,
Sure.
I
Can you
can
share
help
some
you.
of it?
So the one way that I actually found that you can make your money work for you is going back to, in the streets we call it flipping. You know,
Okay.
you're flipping your money. But to make it more simpler, people, yes, saving is big. I'm not going to say don't save. However, it's not really saving that matters. You know, because people say save your money for a rainy day. You don't use your money on a rainy day. You're in the house.
Mm,
But the thing that you need to do is, it's not forming a foundation on saving. You need to file a foundation on spending, but spending maturely. So this is
mm,
where it comes into your money has to work for you. Every dollar that comes into your possession is like an employee. It's like a person, right?
mm.
Every time you go and spend a dollar and you go get a water bottle, you just gave up an employee, right?
Wow. Okay.
So the way you can make your money back is you throw the money into things that you need back. For me, I have my own photography company that I do part time. So the money that I do spend, it goes straight into camera equipment. It goes into new editing platforms. It even goes into promotion purposes to get more people to say, "Hey, I want you to take my pictures. I want you to assist me with my music videos." You know, the exposure. So even though I'm spending money, I'm actually later down the road making more back, because the way I look at it, when you send your money out, your money then goes and looks for more recruiters to say, hey, you need to come and work with Mr. Watson because he's actually going to put us places that we can get jobs. What? Really? And that's how the money starts to fluctuate back, and the best way to stand it. Making sure that if you have I don't want to say a side hustle, I want to say a skill set. If you have a skill set that only you can do, that others need, you need to formulate getting that out into the marketplace, because there's a market for every and everything, any and everything. You name it, there's a market for that. There's people doing that. But what you need to do is hone in on your actual skill set, market it, letting people know that you can do that skill set, and then charging them to accomplish such tasks. When you do that, you start to see your money coming forward. When you start to do that, you start to see your health go up. When you start to see that, you see your confidence and your ego will slowly start to rise as well. Everything will go up from there. But then the next part is maintaining,
Hmm.
you know.
What do you say about people who charge under market value for their skill set?
That actually had that problem when starting out. When you first start out, just like, how can I put this? There's different societies within a society. And I can say that, like, people who have been in the jail system, they tell you it's a different world there. People who have been in the military and actually seen combat, that's a different world. It's the same type of world too, a different world when it comes to business. So, in the business standpoint, when you're actually trying to get your dollars to work for you want to make sure it's going to assets and not liabilities. What's something that I can use that's going to instill and help me to get to where I need to go? If that's spending $200 on promotions on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter for ad promotions, but in that time, it's actually going to give you about 4,000 to about like 8,000 people to come to your page that you spent the $200 for. And if your services are minuscule, like to the point where you're trying to make a presence in the market, but you're not trying to step on somebody who's actually been in the field for too long. So when I actually jumped into photography, it was, what is the value really? And when I had to come up with that, it was, what do I think my value is? That's the first thing. You have to come in confident. You can't say, I think my pictures are worth $60, and then you do them a little bit, and then you say, oh, okay, I got the skill set. Now my pictures are worth $200. No, because people remember at the beginning, this is where you value yourself. If you
Mm,
believe that your pictures are $200 worth, then you need to give them $200 worth quality. But only you can do that because you're the one with the skill set and that's actually getting it done. So I encourage people that if you're starting a company, you know, first do something that you're passionate about. Don't just do something because you want the money, because it will fail and it will fail fast. But
Mm-hmm.
if you find something that you're passionate about, that's when the subconscious kicks in. People can see if you really are about something or you just trying to do something, just get ahead or something. People see that. It shows in the face. That's what's body language. If you can come in at the door, letting them know this is the value, this is where I see it, and keep your foot down on that, people will pay for it. Because people don't actually buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So again, that goes back to the value.
Right.
That's why I encourage people, don't do something because you just want to do it. Do something because you're passionate and you're great at doing it.
Absolutely. To that point, how did you get into photography?
So I got into photography actually hanging out with a lot of friends in college where you would have people say, "Hey, I look nice in this dress. I look nice in this shirt. Can you take my picture?" And it started off just taking pictures on the phone. And then when I started hearing people say, "I like that one, take another one," or take another one and take another one, I started taking more and more pictures. Then it started getting, all right, if I'm going to have to sit here on your phone and take pictures all the time, I started getting more into like angles and then directing them. And after a short period of time, somebody actually told me, it was like, "Did you ever think about trying this with an actual camera?" And I said, "No, I never did. I just do everything with my cell phone. I didn't really think photography would be something I would want to do."
Right.
But when I started into the company and started doing people's portraits and family gatherings, I actually loved it because my main thing with pictures is I don't take people's pictures. I take people's pictures because I want to actually save that remnants in time. I believe when you take someone's pictures, it's in a sense you're capturing a soul and then trapping it in that point in time where it can never be free. I just want to be able to take that picture and give it to you. That way you can say, if it wasn't for Mr. Watson, you would not be seeing still moments of that great time that we once had.
Right.
And
Wow.
that's what I'm passionate about. So when I let my clients know, when they be like, "I'm not sure about this, I'm not sure about that," I'd be like, whatever you want to shoot, we can shoot. But the main thing is, I want you to be happy. We're here. It's beautiful. Like, look at the sun, you know?
Right.
And when they get out, I want to say get out their comfort zone. I don't want to say get in. Because some people can get into their comfort zone and things can go wrong because they're not used to other people. But the moment they get out of their comfort zone and then try to explore, that's when you start seeing that you can work better together. They can see your value and you can see their value. And it's just a beautiful thing once it all comes together.
For sure. For sure. Now, for those people who might not know out there, what's the difference between an iPhone camera and a Canon or a Nikon actual handheld professional photography machine?
So are you asking me that or do you say
Yeah.
anyone?
No, I'm asking
So
you.
with that, when you have your cell phone, don't get me wrong. I use my cell phone as my secondary camera because iPhone does have really good pixels with the actual camera and it does the lighting. It really does. Especially if you put it in portrait mode. It really gets the job done. However, though, when you have the actual camera, I use Canon T6. So it's a DSLR. I'm actually about to purchase my Sony mirrorless camera. Here's the difference between the two. A DSLR has an actual mirror in it. So when you actually take the picture, you can actually see the mirror come down and it comes up. And that's how it captures the image. Whereas the Sony is just a mirrorless camera, meaning it's just going to take whatever it sees and bring it right back, just like how your eyes do. So it makes it more clear and more pixelated. I mean, more clear and less pixelated. iPhone, however, sometimes you can't get to where you want as angles. You can't really zoom in too far with an iPhone. It starts to get a little bit fuzzy. Or if you zoom in too much, then you start to see what we call noise. That's the little dots that you sometimes see on the TV. Or if you hold your eyes too long, you see the little dots. That's called noise. Your pictures will start to have that, and that will distort the image. So using an actual camera, it already cuts back on the noise that's being given out. That way, when you take your picture, and you need to edit it, the editing process is much simpler than trying to do it from a cell phone.
Sure. Sure. Okay. If somebody wanted to hire you to do either a consultation or to come in and do some photos, how would they get in touch with you?
So the way they can get in touch with me is on our Scorpion page on Instagram. We actually have a Facebook, a Twitter, and we just finished our website. Thanks to, I want to say her name, Shayla, for helping us to build it. She's really great with websites and handing out business cards. So she assisted us with that. But if you get in touch with us, you can go right on our page at Scorpion Studios, Scorpion_Studios, LLC, and on our website,
Where's Scorpion_Studios? Where's that at?
on Instagram, and then it's also on Facebook too, and the Twitter.
Okay.
But for the website, our website is www.scorpionstudios.company.
Scorpionstudios.company?
Yes, is the website.
Okay. All right. .company. I never heard that end of a site before.
Yeah, I chose it because it was actually different and much like $5 cheaper in the domain name for as far as the domains go. When we was actually going to try .com, we found that somebody purchased it, but the weird thing about this is they purchased the domain, but there is no Scorpion Studios. So some person probably thought they was going to create this and bought it ahead of time, and business didn't go according to plan, and they never went through with it. So that's why when it said, I was like, well, we can't get the .com, just put PNY in there, PNNY.
Right. Sure. Sure. What's next for you? What's next for you, Carl?
So what's next is, even though I'm right now in the process to get a few more clients' videos that they're trying to do for their upcoming musical talents, I am actually taking a little bit of time for myself to do what I really love to do, one of my hobbies. I just finished my first actual novel, and I'm actually working on my second book right now. I started writing it during quarantine. That's how I kept myself busy during quarantine days. And from there, I'm about to actually have it published. So I'm working on that right now. And afterwards, probably get started on the second book.
Sure. Now, what's your book about? Can you talk about the process?
Yeah. So my book is called Forsaken.
Okay.
The book is about, it takes place during World War II, where 4 Marines actually went off to war to fight against the Germans during the D-Day invasion back in 1941. What happens is all 4 of the soldiers actually die one by one in battle. Now, I'm not sure if you are familiar with how the Marines' creed is, but the Marines believe that Marines don't die, we regroup in hell. So I took that quote and put it into my story where these groups of soldiers, they die and they are reawoken in hell, where they will go ahead and reunite all great warriors, nations, and what they're going to do is take the battle to Lucifer and his demons down in hell. So in essence, the book is going to be dealing with starting a war against the devil himself.
That's brilliant. What was your greatest challenge in writing that book?
My greatest challenge, honestly, with writing it was trying to find a pen. It flowed so smoothly because, again, it's like I just thought of a story. I like to watch movies and everything, so my imagination just brought it through. The only thing that was the trouble in is I just kept writing, and some of my pens would run out of ink.
Mhm.
That was really the only thing. Was really trying to find a great.
Wow. So talk about your process. So you hand wrote the entire book and then you typed it, or how'd that
Yes,
look?
I hand wrote the entire book and then typed it. So I like to journal, so I put it in actually in one of my notebooks. It started off, I did 2 pages, and then no, I'm sorry. It started off I did like 4 pages just to see if I can do a short story. It was supposed to be a short story, but then as I started writing it and I was reading it to my aunt, who is my biggest supporter when it comes to this book. She loved every word of it. And yes, this one forced me to continue writing
Right.
it. But when I started writing it and I read it to her, and just her instilling in me and motivating me to keep going. 3 pages turned into now I just did 10. Then 10 turned into, oh my God, did I really just write 56 pages? It took me 4 months. It would have been done as soon. I would have had it done sooner, but being the full-time dad and then trying to run a company and then being just a son to parents because it's quality time with them every day, it took me 5 months to finish it. But that was mainly the process. It was quite simple. I just stayed focused and consistent, like we just talked about in our last topic.
Sure.
And that's what made it go.
How long did the book turn out to be?
So the book is actually, I didn't count the pages yet because I have to print them out, but I believe words, it was over 8,000 words in there. It said on my, I still have to write the last paragraph, but where I'm at, it said 8,200, so 8,200 words so far.
You're gifted. You're gifted,
Thank
man.
you.
And I don't just say that you're gifted because you wrote a book. I say that you're gifted because of the way that you provide media almost effortlessly, and that's a gift. That's a gift. You know, as we get ready to round third base here, and I've had a great time with you here today. I wanted you to talk about what it's like being a full-time father, and I understand that while you might not be with your son's mother, y'all might not be married, but y'all have a cordial relationship at least, and you are experiencing what it's like, in a sense, to be a full-time father. What's that like?
So being a full-time father is an experience that when I was younger, I didn't think I would be ready for, but I can say when he came out 6 years ago, I was ready. I was just happy because this is the next generation, my name, you know. Even if I had a daughter, that would still been happy, but I have a son, so I'll stick with that. He continues the family name, you know, and he actually teaches me every day more than I can say I teach him, and he doesn't realize that. When there was one time when I tore my ACL, and I was actually in the living room, and my therapist gave me a workout to do where I had to just keep my leg and then bring it back and bring it down. It hurt. I don't know if you tore your ACL. I hope nobody has. It hurt. I couldn't really move my knee. My son comes right into the living room. He's 2. Comes right into the living room. I have my left leg up like this on an angle, and then my right is like on the knee. He places his hand on my knee, and as I'm doing up and down, he's counting. 1, 2. And I was like, but baby, it hurts. And he's like, keep going, daddy. You strong.
Right.
So that right there, without me even realizing it, he's always there for me. He's always telling me, Dad, you got this. And for him to be such a young age and just so kind-hearted, it makes me smile to the point where I'm like, I gotta keep going because you keep telling me to keep going. And he keeps going with his sports. We have him in football and everything. And then going back with his mom, yes, me and his mom are not together. However, we are the best of friends. And she's actually my partner in the company as well. We founded it together. I do the photography pieces. He does the videography.
Awesome. And you guys are maintaining a healthy balance, and I totally respect that. And blessings to you and your family and your son as well. I have 3 questions that I need to ask you as we wrap up this interview. I need you to answer these questions in about a minute and a half. The first question is, what is survival to you?
Okay. Survival to me is being able to wake up the next day and keep going forward. No easy day. The only easy day was yesterday. So if you can wake up and it's the new day, that's to me is survival. You made it through.
Wow. Okay. And what is success to you?
Success to me is actually very different than others. Success to me is not how much money I made. Success to me is more of what people did I influence? What people did I touch? Did my words mean something?
Say that one more time. You broke up a little bit.
My actual success is, I will say, is different from people. Success to me is not about how much money you have, how big your house is, or any of that materialism. Success to me is, did I actually instill something in somebody? Did I save that person from wanting to commit suicide? Did I stop this person from quitting on his dreams and now he continued and he's doing this? So for me to be say that I'm successful is I'm actually doing what I want someone to do for me. Just tell me how to do it. Just give me the words, give me the encouragement. I just need the motivation. If I can be that in somebody's life, I don't care if I only have $5 in my pocket. To me, that makes me a millionaire. If I
For
can
sure.
get that. And I can only say, I only go for one a day. Got a small goal, but one person a day.
Yep. Without a doubt. Well, you've reached several hundred people today, and I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. What is greatness to you?
Ooh, greatness to me is to be able to look in the mirror, see who you are, and smile. I know that's short, but it's big to me because there were times going back when depression hit. There was times I did not want to look at myself in the mirror, and people would tell me you're doing great, but I didn't feel great. So to me, greatness is I can look in the mirror and look at myself and not cringe, but yet smile. Now that's greatness.
For sure. Carl Watson, you're a star. I've appreciated learning about your journey today, learning about your adventure in life and where you are today. I want to let you know that I respect your work. I commend your work. You provided a great a great life for us to discover and understand here today on America's Next Motivator. And you, Carl, is one of America's Next Motivators.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Cedric. I really do.
Without a doubt. Hey, I look forward to talking to you sometime in the future. And feel free to invite friends and family over to watch America's Next Motivator in the future. And as we all know, each and every time people tune in here, there's something here for you. All you've got to do is stop by and pick it up. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
For sure.